Okay, and we're live. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Overthinker Society with Sue Lee. I- I'm Sue Lee. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. Um, in this vlog series, I'm gonna pick a subject each episode of whatever that feels relevant. That's just been kind of going crazy in my head, and I'll just go down deep into the rabbit hole with it, and just just brain vomit all my thoughts about that topic, just to kind of make sense of it all. We've covered a few subjects, few topics so far. Some of them quite heavier than the others, and some of them a little lighter. Today, I think I personally think it would be one of the most fun topics and also one of the most passionate topics that I've covered so far on this series, which is food. I love food. Well, to be more specific, I love talking about food more so than like actually eating food itself. I feel like talking about food and eating food is like a completely different endeavor. For me, talking about food is something that I'm a little bit more passionate about than like actually eating food, if that makes sense. Talking about food could be like, it is like a pastime for me. I could do it all day, all night with anybody. I love hearing about people's weird eating habits, their kind of dietary knowledge, or like their past diets, uh, or like, I don't know, even like their bro science or something. I love hearing everybody's point of view about anything related to food. But when it comes to eating food, I have a pretty like drastic history of with my kind of history of consuming food. Uh, my weight fluctuated a lot over the course of my life, and I'm talking few stones easily, which is equivalent to like 10 to 15 kilograms. That's the metric that you use. It fluctuated a lot, especially over the last few years, when like I was in charge of the food that I take rather than just kind of eating passively whatever my mom just cooked in front of the table for me. So like ever since kind of I was independently in control of my dietary intake, my weight has fluctuated so much. Not necessarily because I was like dieting, but because I it's for me, it's either like eating or not eating. There's no like grazing. There's no like, well, I graze a lot, but there's no, this is bad, but there's no moderation for me. There's no middle ground. There's no healthy level. It's just either like, just like eat it or like just not eat at all. And I actually lost a lot of weight since I started making music because what I tend to do is that I kind of my appetite just shuts down altogether when I'm doing something that I really love doing. Or when I'm like super into something, I would forget about eating altogether. And so I really love making music. I really love making songs and just making beats and just like singing and writing songs. So whenever I'm doing that, I stop eating or I stop thinking much about like eating. So I actually lost a lot of weight over the course of the last few months, which is pretty bad. My mom, I get scolded all the time by my mom to just eat some food. God, just my mom's always like, eat some goddamn food, please, just eat some food. And I try my best, because it's really not that good for the energy levels. I would have days when I would, go about my normal stuff that I would do, making beats, writing songs, talking with you guys on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, going out for walks, the normal everyday stuff. And then like at like around 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, I'll be like, oh God, wow, I feel really crap right now. I feel like I have no energy. I feel very low. I feel a bit faint. And then I would realize that I haven't eaten for the whole day. It's really bad. It's really bad. And it's something, something, yeah, taking care of myself, in terms of diet alone is something that I'm still trying to figure out. But yeah, anyways, I love talking about food, at least. I love talking about food, just anything related to the topic of food. I love tackling about. So, yeah, I just wanted to it's a bit of a long that was a long intro, but I wanted to talk about food today. I'm most probably going to talk about something related to diet and something related to food, something related to eating, at another point in this vlog series because I love it so much. But today, just kind of rambling on and see where about food and where see where that takes us. I I am known for having a very elongated mealtime. My previous housemates that I've lived with would know this, and my family, of course, but I'm known to have dinners that last well over 2 hours. That's the bare minimum. Um, I just love taking time with my food, and I'm notorious for taking like anywhere around an hour or two to finish like a piece of chicken or two. That's I'm such a slow eater. It runs in my family actually. My mom is even a slower eater than I am. She is known to have dinners that last. I don't know why it's dinner. I think it's probably because like usually it's like the last meal of the day, so it's kind of like, oh, we're kind of done with the day, so we can kind of lay back and eat for however long that we want, which for me is 2 hours usually, and for my mom it's like, oh my gosh, well over 5 hours, and I'm not even kidding. She's one of those people uh who consume alcohol with her food every night. So it's like it becomes like this whole like drinking regimen where she would kind of slowly start with the food and then she would introduce some alcohol, some drinks here and there, and then it would just become like a full on ritual throughout her whole evening up until the point that she goes to bed. So yeah, my mom's, it takes about 5 hours for her to kind of like wrap up her her dinner. Not so much my dad actually. I don't live with my dad ever since my parents split up, but he's actually a really fast eater. He's a fast eater. Oh my god, my stomach just growled really loudly. Yeah, my dad's a really fast eater. I occasionally go out for meals whenever he's in town, and whenever I go out for a meal with my dad, it's either usually like I end up really hungry after the meal or like super sick, because it's like the former I would just kind of keep up with my normal pace of eating, which is really slow, but my dad would just finish eating so quickly that by the time that he's finished with his meal, I wouldn't even be halfway through my own meal. So I would just kind of cut the meal off earlier than usual, and I would just end up really hungry. Or latter, I would try to keep up with the pace at which he is eating, so I just end up eating so much faster than I usually do, which kind of just ends up making me really sick. So yeah, it's either like sick or really hungry having meals with my dad. Another thought about eating slow is, I think there's this kind of general knowledge that if you eat slowly, it would help you like lose weight or something, because hold on, let me just try to think of the word for it. It was like something like ghrelin or something, and ghrelin is like a hormone in your body that helps you feel full when you eat something. And apparently it takes about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes for that ghrelin to, is it gremlin or ghrelin? Anyway, it takes about 30 minutes for that hormones to kick in. And so the longer time that you take to eat and hold on to eating food, um, the fuller you feel, and so consequently helping you eat in moderation. Let me just confirm, in my own experience at least, that is absolute bullcrap. That does not ring true to me in my own experience, and my sister agrees as well because she's also a slow eater, and she has a bit more issue with like losing weight more than I do, but she has recently told me like it's absolute bullcrap that the longer that it takes for you to finish a meal, the easier it is for you to eat in moderation. Because what actually ends up happening for her and a lot of me and a lot of us is that it the thing is like it the if you eat, well, I guess if you eat at a very moderate pace. So it's like not too fast or not too slow. That's fine. That's actually like the sweet spot where you actually get to eat in moderation. But if you eat like, there's a point where you eat like too slow to a point where where the food actually just gets digested as you eat. So that's just my theory. But if you eat too slowly, which I think it is the case for myself and my sister and my family in general, is that you end up just digesting as you eat. So you're just like constantly in a state of being hungry. So like you're just never satisfied. You just keep on eating. You just keep on eating until like you're at the maximum level of capacity for your stomach, and that's when you have to stop. So yeah, I guess my point is just kind of like eating slow to feel fuller is like only true to a certain pace of eating. Once you go over that, it's just actually counter effective, I think. I I have another kind of apparently weird eating habit that uh I have not seen anybody really be able to resonate with. And my former housemates were like super weirded out about it. But what I do a lot of times, you know, those like crisp snacks, you know, that you get in like plastic bags. I think I always forget what they're called, but like cheese curls or something, uh, like little puff stuff. They're known to be crunchy. Those snacks are known to be crunchy, and people eat them for the crunch. But whenever I get those type of snacks, whenever I get those like puffy snacks, I what I do is I intentionally open up the bag and don't eat it. I don't eat it up front. Like I don't eat it straight from the bag when I open it. I intentionally open it and just leave it on the table or wherever I leave it. And for it to like go soggy. You know how when you keep a bag of chips open for a few days or a few hours even, it gets like soggy because it absorbs the moisture in the air or something. I I intentionally do that because I love the chewiness of it when it gets when a snack gets soggy. I love it. Am I the only one? Please. It's really good. And I even like I even call this process the cultivation process. And you know how they have like small mini pack crisps where they have like like small plastic bags and they get, you know, they're divided into small packs. Whenever I get those, I just open all the bags in advance and just leave it there for the cultivation process. And then like in a few days or something, I would eat it one by one. Yeah, my housemates were super weirded out by that. Um, yeah, I've to this date I haven't really seen anybody do the same thing. Uh, Maybe you guys on YouTube might be able to relate. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that. It's good. It's good stuff. I'm gonna keep cultivating my crisps. I'm one of those people also, like, if somebody asked me if you had to either eat savory food or sweet food for the rest of your life, what would you pick? I wouldn't even like hesitate to answer sweets. For the rest of my life, sweets. If I have to make the decision, it's the sweets for sure. I love sweets. I have a massive, 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 almost borderline problematic sweet tooth. It's really bad. Um, I think my track record is I've eaten a whole like one of those like birthday cakes that are like the size of my torso basically. One of those I've finished that in one sitting on my own before. Um, if you're somebody who watches mukbang, I'm sure it's probably not that much of a surprise because those like people who do mukbang are professional eaters who eat like a massive, massive quantity of food in one sitting. But I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that track record of having finished a whole birthday haul cake on my own. And that wasn't on camera. It was out of sheer pure passion for that cake. And it was just me and the cake, nothing else, just me and the cake. And I enjoyed every single bite of it. It was good stuff. It was really good stuff. Yeah, I need help. I need help with my diet. Um, this sweet tooth is sometimes a bit stressful because I mean like for obvious reasons. Sweets aren't good. It's the so-called empty calories. Doesn't really do you any good whatsoever. I guess like in moderation, like from fruits or something, it would be good because fruits are healthy if you eat it in moderation. But I do not eat sugar in moderation. That is one thing that I know for sure. I do not eat sugar in moderation. Nope. No moderation. Just completely out the window. No moderation for me with sweets. I once heard that have uh sweets are like something crazy like 10 times more addictive than like cocaine or something, which is kind of unnerving. It's kind of scary. Um, I've personally never done cocaine. I don't think I ever will. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to compare. Probably not. But yes, sugar is very addictive in my experience, and it's one of those things that once you have a little bit, it's like you just roll with it. At least for me, it's like I will have periods when I wouldn't actually eat a lot of sweets or like not at all. And I wouldn't like think about it. But when I start eating sweets and when I get into the habit of it, I would just go all out. And I think um, that's for me, it's like my whole life is a perpetual uh, struggle with trying to keep up with my sweet cravings. Oh my god. I think there are two types of sweets. It's like either like one of those kind of like tangy kind of sweet side of things, and another is like really like the kind of like chocolatey, like really sugary. Oh my god, that word's at the tip of my tongue. Like the word that starts with like delicate, diligence, anyways, the decadent, yes, decadent side of sweet, which is kind of like more like chocolates, like uh, cake and like donuts and stuff like that. I'm more the decadent sweet person. I do enjoy a good level of like good amount of like fruity tangy sweets, but if I had to choose, it would be the decadent chocolatey side. Um, I actually do not like fruit, anything that has like fruit mixed into the sweets or like pastries. So if I love pastries in general, but if it's like a strawberry topped pastry or like strawberry jam pastry or like apricot pastry, I wouldn't like it. And I don't even like having fruits on top of like cakes. I love cakes, but when it has fruits on top of it, I usually just like not eat it at all, or just like separate the fruit from the cake and eat the cake first and then the fruit after that or something. I like fruits. I like fruits, but I don't like them. I don't like having them with the cakes or like the sweets. If that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I need to figure out how to take it easy on the sweets. I don't know if there's any other way other than to just do it and not have too much sweets. I mean, that's the only thing the way I can think of, just out of sheer will, and also, upping my intake of other healthy foods like vegetables and rice and uh, healthy stuff. That's just boring, and I'm not interested in that. Those type of food, which is already a problem. But yeah, I need to like just figure out how to take care take care of my own body. Oh my god, I need help. Today's conclusion could be that I need help in a lot of areas in general, but definitely diet is one of them. Definitely one of them. I'd love to actually get some consultations from a professional dietitian or something. Or maybe I should just start reading up some books about healthy diet lifestyle, just to kind of educate myself with ways I can take care of my body. But the thing about food is that there's so many people with so many opinions and beliefs about the food, like what's right and what's wrong, and they're very the thing about diet is like it's almost like politics where they each like dietitian or like a professional uh, nutritionist or something, they have a very firm belief on what they believe in. It's a very like, I wouldn't say tunnel vision, but they're very set on their beliefs in food, which I don't think is really the way food works. And this is just my personal opinion. Like, I don't know much about it, but like there's so many like diets out there. There are things like, oh, super high fat diet where it's like you eat loads of fat. Carnivorous diet, is that it? Where you just eat like loads of meat but not so much like carbs or even like vegetables at all. And like there's so many like, and there's obviously like the vegan diets and also like pescatarian diets and like vegetarian diets and like intermittent fasting and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, I think people who follow these like regimens are very set on that way of living, and it makes sense. It makes sense because it works for them. It works for them. But I think in my experience, food and diet in general is just all about finding kind of your way of going about doing things, and eating things, and finding what works the best for you, and finding what food personally works best for your, not just your body, but also kind of the way you think, and your mentality as well. Having said this, I need to do some experiment myself. Yeah, I definitely need to eat more vegetables. That's for sure. That's just a given. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, this is fun. I really really like talking about food. um, I'm probably gonna do like food episode 2. Definitely. Um, I kind of want to try one of those like challenges where I just try different, I don't know, sweets from Korea or like Japan. Japanese sweets are amazing. And like sweets from like exotic sweets from all over the world and try it and just kind of like do a review or something. I'd love to do that at some point. Be fun. Um, or maybe just to help with my sweet tooth, not like go the sweet sweet reviews at all, but probably yes, the sweets because it's the most fun probably. I love talking about food and I love, hearing different philosophies about food and just kind of hearing what people have to say about their opinions on food. I don't think I have a very strong opinion on any diets or any kind of food related philosophy on my own part. It goes back to the people with very like who has very a tunnel vision on what they believe is right when it comes to diets. I'm like the complete opposite. I will listen to anything and I'll be so gullible about it. I'd be like, "Wow, that sounds very uh it sounds like it makes sense." It's I'm so gullible when it comes to diet. I wouldn't necessarily try it though. I would, like I said, I have a general lack of interest in the whole like diet area and the whole like trying to improve my diet and my lifestyle or whatever. Uh, so I wouldn't necessarily like act on it and like actually actively try different diet and different foods and different ways of eating, but I love listening to people's theories about what's right or wrong when it comes to eating. I think it's fascinating. Different methods that dietitians have. It all goes back to the what I was saying about how it's just all about finding ways that works for you personally. So I don't think it's necessarily there's it's necessarily like it's like there's no right or wrong to it. I think that's why I find it so fascinating to hear different people's different opinions about food because it's like I kind of know that they all kind of have its own place. And I think we're just kind of as humans in general, we're still trying to figure out in terms of like an evolutionary stance, we're still trying to figure out how our bodies actually work. It's kind of amazing how there's been thousands after like millions of years of human evolution, and yet we're just discovering uh the tip of the iceberg of how the human body actually works. And I find that fascinating how it's like we're still trying to figure out, we're still trying to figure out how the body actually works. And there's still like so many undiscovered uh, illnesses and diseases and things about the human body, like the brain, for instance, that we still need to like we're still just trying to figure out. So yeah, I think it's just all a part of the fascination of the mystery of humanity and uh and that and I've got a massive sweet tooth. I think that's just kind of the main takeaway from this episode. Okay, sorry. My camera, I think it just my camera just turned itself off. So I think I think it's about time that we wrap up this episode. Uh, okay, I'm, thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you, and, uh, bye.